The show. Woo! Another round of applause for this amazing cast production team. If you didn't know, I'm Peter. This show is totally about me. Any questions? Now's the time.
Hello, Angel. Congratulations, first of all. I mean, I think we're all probably wrecked. It's such a beautiful, beautiful story, your life and the lives of your father and brother and your late husband. It's beautiful to see in this way. I know that you've worked on this play for a while. For me, the most powerful moments were when they finally came out and you got to spend time on stage. It was very moving. Was that initially conceived? Because it's very effective. And where you place those?
This is a long process of getting there.
I'll let you, we can tag team this one, but no. No. The short of it is no. Originally, I wrote it where you only hear their voices, period. Because I sought out to write a one-person show. And I wanted to try and maybe eventually travel with it, and well, it would just be me, right? And then I would have these recordings of their voices. So initially when I approached Savannah to direct it, Savannah did a beautiful job. Savannah said, she asked me that question, and I was like, no, they're voices. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, what if, for the LA, since we're here, we'll have them, be live, but they can still be backstage, and all of the things. And I was like, okay, just for the, just because we're here, fine. And the last scene was Sam, who's so brilliant. So how we rehearsed, do you want to tell them how we rehearsed eventually?
Yes.
And then
Essentially just because they were going to be backstage the whole time didn't mean that I didn't want to rehearse them as if they were on stage. So that was how the rehearsal process went. We rehearsed on stage with all the guys, as all of our rehearsals, and then we experimented with them standing behind her, we experimented with them standing in a mirror, just to kind of have that ghostly presence eventually, and then ultimately they ended up being backstage. But I wanted her to have the full life with them through the rehearsal process, because it is so real for her that it has to feel real for you guys too, and the only way to do that was to have them actually rehearsing on stage together. And at some point, we were doing the last scene with Sam.
Yeah, we did the last scene.
And we just played with, let's see what happens if he comes out. Why not? We're just experimenting. And then when you did, and suddenly you had to do the whole last monologue with him on stage, basically.
Yeah.
It was really powerful.
Well, we also, because they weren't allowed, we weren't touching or interacting in that way, and Savannah decided during this rehearsal, what if this time you guys can touch? And she was like, so Sam, you're gonna comfort her through this, because the whole point, and I think you got it, is that I avoid the getting remarried part of this conversation. I avoid that throughout the whole thing. And here, Sam is sort of Brad is shepherding me through this conversation. So Savannah was like, now you can touch her. So he held my hand when I had to say, so I married Peter. And I just broke. And he broke. And Savannah broke. We all broke. And we finished the scene, and there was just and Savannah goes, I know you don't want to hear this. And I said, I know, you're right. He has to come out. I know he has to come out, but if he has to come out, I don't know how to do that with the other actors. And she was like, well, we'll talk to them, because I was like, you know me, I like to be fair. And
Well, yeah, it wouldn't make sense if it was just him, and so
Yeah.
we had to plan how they came out. So if, I don't know if this was something anybody picked up, but when our beautiful Andre and Brian comes out, they don't look at it, they can't see each other, and they don't touch, and they're looking forward and she can't see him. And then when Dad comes out, she can see him, but she can't touch him. Because there's distance between them. So that eventually when Brad comes out, that's when they can touch. That's when he can actually, you know, our red carpet is kind of like the lifeblood of this show. So when he steps onto it, it's like he's stepping into the world of living. So we found a progression that we did our best to like make it all make sense, so that you could have those lovely moments of them being flesh and blood and having permission to come here, even just for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Great. Anyone else?
I'm glad it was powerful. I'm glad it worked.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Don't reminisce, Savannah. Seems like
I'm glad I made the decision.
Hi.
Hi.
It was wonderful and profound and beautiful and moving, and thank you so much. I have so many questions, but, and sometime, Angel, I'm gonna sit down with you and I really want to talk to you, but anyway.
Yeah.
And Savannah too, but anyway, let me get to it, I'm sorry. Angel, could you tell a little bit about your writing process and how you felt about the three individuals, the three men in your life, and how that drove the process? Like, who were you able to write about first because of how you felt, perhaps? And second question, forgive me, I wonder if the three gentlemen could talk about what it felt like to step into these roles and step into these lives, and what that responsibility meant to you.
It's a good question. Initially I was approached by people who kept saying you should write a book about this whole situation of compound grief and all these things, and so I had an outline, and then I was like, I don't know shit about writing a book. And I didn't really want to do a lot of research to find out about that, but I was sort of still kind of like doing the motions, and I could hear them talking to me, because I would ask certain things like, what's important, what did I learn about this, you know, with your death and whatever, and eventually, as a creative, you're like, what if they are talking to me? What if I turn this into a play instead of a book? And that really lit me up, because I'm like, that I know, that's my world. And so I just started riffing with that, and I wrote them exactly how they are. So my brother, I dealt with his, it was, well, somewhat true. There was a little bit of overlap with some of the lessons, but as more people read it, like Peter and several other people, I got like, you know what, I want to use this specifically to cover Brian. I want to use this lesson to cover my dad, and I want to use this lesson to cover Brad. So there's like minimal overlap, but that's kind of how, that was the process. And it didn't take long once I got the concept of what I wanted to do. You guys want to talk about what it was like?
Let's start with Dre.
Okay. I mean,
Isn't he cute?
For me, it was a bit of a nerve-wracking experience, because I wanted to make sure I embodied who Brian meant to Angel, as well as her family, because I knew her family would be here, and I knew, obviously they know him. So I wanted to make sure I did him as much justice as I could, because he's not a character, so I cannot try to be a caricature of someone that she knows. So the process was, it was fun. I had 1,000 questions for Angel in terms of his personality. I feel like there's a lot of parallels between Brian and myself, so I tried to put on that as much as possible. Can you guys hear me? I see Peter doing this.
No, take your time.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I just tried to find as many parallels between Brian and myself. Again, asking Angel 1,000 questions. Again, it was fun, but scary at the same time, because I had never had to play someone's family member who I know on a personal level.
And last year was
Yeah,
your.
this was my first show, live show.
Oh.
He's an incredible dancer, so he is a performer.
Yeah, he is a fabulous dancer.
Let's hear from Ron next, and then we'll finish with Sam.
I do want to say what you don't see when he's doing that last conversation with Angel is that he's dancing in the back, and I just, part of me wishes that like
They can see
you
that.
Amazing dance.
Put up a scrim.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Oh, maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future.
I actually interviewed Angel just to find out everything about her father, everything that she could tell me, and I also looked at things that were in my life, and a lot of it's parallel. I mean, some of the lines she wrote, I was divorced after 25 years, so that was one of the lines. It's like, you know more than that. So there was so much information that I pulled back on. My father also was a truck driver, and I know what it meant to grow up in that and how him to leave and come back. So there was so much parallel that I was just able, and I just felt an honor. I love to play real stories, so just an honor to just bring her father on the stage and actually see what he done. And then some of the things she mentioned, that he was, martial arts and all those things. I just wanted to inculcate that I could perform that and make him be here today on the stage. So.
And by the way,
Yeah.
Ron joined us a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Because we had another performer who we love, who booked something that we couldn't compare to. So we did, but I just have to say, he just in a few weeks he pulled that together.
Like these gentlemen have said, it was really intimidating to embark on the idea of embodying a real person, a real historic person, and with the sensitive, just heartbreaking tale of this, that it is, you want to honor their memory, and like Dre said, knowing that their family was going to come. So on one hand, it's just amazing to have Angel as the resource. Anytime you have a question about the character or need some backstory or want to go deeper in any direction, she's right there and just has a plethora of information. But what I also appreciated from both Angel and Savannah was that at some point they made it clear that, they are not expecting me to just imitate Brad or just be like a direct, copy of them, and to give us as actors permission to, put our spin on it, and and that frees us a little bit to kind of draw from our own personal experience and not be completely like tied to certain ideas of what the character is supposed to be.
Any final question? Because we need to get to the bar.
It's not a question, but Angel,
Yeah.
I've seen this before, but the day I saw it, I was the only person in the audience
Yeah.
because I was doing a show myself, so I couldn't be there for a performance, and it was wonderful to see it and to see the reaction from the audience. And I just want to say that I think this is a really important thing that you've done. Not just that it's important for you as a cathartic experience and as an artist and as your truthful tale, but I think there's so many people out there that need to hear your journey so that they know that there's that amazing hope on the other end. Not that their experience is going to be just like yours, but I think there are women's groups, there are grief groups, there are communities that need to see this. And so I hope that you'll step out bravely with this further than just doing it in these small venues. I think it's very important.
Okay, let's make this the last one, and then we're gonna all go to the bar for more questions and more answers and drinks.
I'll make it quick. Hi, Jeremy. Oh my God, it was beautiful and heart-wrenching and just lovely. And my question, because there's so much humor in it, right? Like it's so sad and so much humor, and you need that, right? That's how we get through it, the job of humor. Did you write a lot of that humor, or was it discovered in the rehearsal process? And
No,
then,
it's written.
oh, it's written, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So my other question is, how has this piece of writing it transformed your own grief?
Well, when, it really transformed it more when I wrote it than performing it. I think with every one of the lessons, somewhere in there was like a, oh, and then I would like cry, you know? There was like something like with my brother, like, you know, his like, I always thought that, you know, I always thought I belong behind him, you belong beside me. That was like a, yeah, totally, I was totally living in your shadow. That moment, with my dad saying, I see you. With Brad, you know, there's a lot of things. But I got to complete with Brad. I did not get to complete with my brother or my father before they died. Because my dad's death was really sudden. And then, you know, I left. I dropped the line that we were living in different states. My brother and I didn't live in the same state. So when I went back to work, it was a totally different state. And that's how come you know, there was no predicting that he was gonna die in 48 hours, but he did. So anyway, yeah, so I think probably the biggest moment I had was death isn't personal. That was like the biggest, like, holy shit. Oh my God. And I just cried. Because I was like, right, oh, yes, right. So it was more in the writing process than performing it, I think. But I think because I had those moments, it was easier to step into it this way. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for coming. If you don't have children at home, join us at the bar. We have children.
We have something, and we're still going to the bar.
Thank you again. Tell your friends, we're going to do this performance again.